Hey guys, thanks for joining us today for this quick virtual meeting about what we do here at Hovair Automotive. Let me introduce myself. My name is John Edwards. For those of you that don't know me, I'm based up in the Detroit area, and we have four more representatives or sales and production with Hovair that are on the line with us today in case we need them. But Randy Reed, he's also located up here in the Detroit area. He's been with us now for a little over 18 years. He handles a lot of the body and assembly and stamping facilities, in particular for Ford and a lot of the other OEMs. Aaron Richards is also based out of the Detroit area. He is our Chrysler account representative. He's been with us for a little over 3 years. And David Benham is been with Hovair for 35 plus years. He's our vice president of engineering and is based down in Franklin, Indiana, where our shop is. And we have Paul Armstrong, who is our plant manager. He's newly with us 4 or 5 years, and he's also based in the Franklin, Indiana area. So I'd like to take this opportunity to, again, thank you guys for joining us today. Hopefully I can teach you or learn, hopefully you learn something a little bit more about what we do here at Hovair. So on the screen, you can see we're going to basically kind of run through some introductions and what we do at Hovair, talk about the Rhino Toolhouse merger, and then we chose some pieces of equipment that might be a little different than what you think we're used to doing or used to seeing from us. Some conveyor system, a large or a heavy capacity air bearing turntable, and a lid removal device that's automatic. And then we'll do a little virtual tour of the facility. So, but I thought in these times with all of us kind of sitting at home and being in quarantine and hopefully not putting on the COVID-19 pounds like I'm sure I have. But anyway, I know there's I wanted to start off, I was looking online to try to see like if there was something that, could kind of lighten the mood a little bit for us today, something a little, you guys may go back home and talk to your family about, or just an interesting fact. So I looked today. Today happens to be Babe Ruth Day. So I figured without any baseball going on right now, this may be a good, something to talk about with your kids, or your family. Go out in the yard, play catch, do whatever. It's supposed to be a nice day, either up here in Michigan. But I thought what was interesting about this is I wanted to take the Babe Ruth stance and say, everybody knows that this guy was a prolific hitter, from home runs to what he did at the plate was amazing. But what a lot of people don't know is he actually started his career off as a pitcher. So he started off with the Boston Red Sox. He pitched, and I threw up on the slide here some of his stats. So his ERA, 2.28 for the career, he was number one in 1916. He was 15th overall for his ERA. He had 65 career wins. He was top 3 in the American League in 2 of his first 5 full seasons as a pitcher. And for those of you who don't know, he was, in fact, a left-handed pitcher. His win-losses are still – his win-loss percentage is still 12th all-time of pitchers in the major leagues. Strikeouts, he was top 5 in the American League for 2 of his 5 seasons. And shutouts, he was number 1 in 1916. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It was also brought to my attention, and I don't have it on here, that he stole home 8 or 10 times. So for those of you who don't know, there's 32 players in Major League Baseball history that have stolen home plate 10 times or more. Number 1 on the list by far is Ty Cobb with 54. And the next guy, I can't remember who it is, but it's 20 to 30 below that. But I thought it was kind of interesting for Babe Ruth's stature, I guess you'd say, to have 10, stolen, bases to home plate, actually. So obviously his hitting ability is top notch, but there's no other player in baseball history with such well-rounded abilities as Babe Ruth, and abilities that were game proven in major league play. So I'd like to draw the correlation to say that I think from the Hovair Automotive side, the guys that we have, in Franklin, the guys in the trenches, the folks that we're working with and everything else, I'd like to say that Hovair, in my opinion, is a game-proven supplier. So starting off with that, I thought that was kind of interesting for everybody to see. So So back to the nuts and bolts of it. So for those of you who are not familiar with Hovair, we're a full service supplier of material handling equipment. So we design, build material handling equipment like carts, dollies, lift tables, air bearing turntables, roller conveyor systems, virtually any custom fabricated equipment you need in your facility. As a mission statement for us, I want to point out on the screen that, our mission is to identify and deliver the world's most innovative industrial solutions. We provide a superior service, local expertise, and a high degree of responsiveness to empower our customers to be more productive, build a better quality product, and maintain a safe environment for your workers, basically. So that's kind of the mission statement that Rhino Toolhouse has taken on as Hovair, and I think it fits us very well. So again, we are located in Franklin, Indiana, which is just about 25 miles south of Indianapolis. We have approximately 30 employees in the shop floor and in engineering and, admin and support side of things. And we have the three guys, myself, Aaron, and Randy, who are located here locally in the Michigan, Detroit metro area. So we have approximately a 60,000 square foot manufacturing facility there in Franklin, where we bring the raw steel in, and we put it through our fabrication processes and machining, and we go into paint and assembly until we have a finished, tested, ready to ship product to our customer. At Hovair, we kind of pride ourselves on helping the customers come up with the best piece of equipment that'll fit the application, and we want to make sure you're happy with the end result. We're not a commodity supplier, or you're not going to find online where we stock multiple different sizes of items for. We want to make sure that we're there to add value to your process or your facility. So we want to work with you and get the right tool or the right product into position in your facility. So and again, before we get to some of the video stuff, I also wanted to touch on the relationship or the merger or the purchase of Hovair Automotive by Rhino Toolhouse. Many of you are aware, if you worked with us from Hovair in the past, you're tuning in because you have a Rhino Toolhouse sales representative in your area that's maybe been calling on you and said, hey, we own Hovair Automotive, and this is what these guys do. And again, we've been around for 30 years doing custom material handling equipment for the automotive industry and general industry. In November of 2019, Hovair was purchased by Rhino Assembly, which is based out of Concord, North Carolina. Along the same time, Rhino Assembly merged with the Toolhouse, which is up in New Berlin, Wisconsin, outside of Milwaukee. The Rhino Toolhouse Collective, as the distribution side of the business, is a service-minded, full-line distributor of engineered solutions related to assembly, material handling, airproofing, ergonomic wearables, tool repair, and much more. So it's like any of the tooling, the lift assist arms, the exovest, the wearable ergonomic devices. And this partnership has been a great fit for both parties. We at Hovair been able to gain a larger sales force with the Rhino Toolhouse, and us combined now there's over 50 sales and application engineers, and we're covering more than right now over 36 states and trying to grow. And the Rhino Toolhouse side has actually gained a direct or centrally located manufacturing company that's able to service all of our customers. So Hovair and Rhino Toolhouse are functioning as one company, so we're all one big happy family, and we're looking forward to continue to growing our current customer base and working with new ones to grow in the near future. So from that, for the demo videos we've done today, we've taken in the last few days. One of them is a little bit older, but most of them are last couple days. We've taken on our shop floor because of the COVID items. I would much rather be doing this off of our floor and showing you in person, but our guys down there did a good job of taking some of the videos of some of the equipment we have currently. But I wanted to run through some of these custom pieces of equipment and kind of shed the light on or talk about how we met the customer's needs. We like working with the customer to come up with, like I said before, the best fit material handling equipment for the application. So we want to come in and offer you guys options, because I said many times before, we've probably been in 80% of the manufacturing facilities in the country, in the US in particular, and some of Mexico and Canada, of course. And we know what works, what maybe doesn't work. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever, or something kind of stumps you, just reach out to us. We're willing to help and talk to you about it. It won't cost you anything to throw out a few examples of what we think may work for your application, or what we've seen in the past. But in showing you these demos today, or the videos we're going to look at, these I want to relay to you guys, our current customers and future customers, the ability that Hovair has to design and build what you need, while understanding that we still also obviously do a lot of the standard items like the carts or the dollies and lift tables, the rotate tables, conveyor systems, all that kind of stuff. So without further ado, I just, one quick note, like Steven said, if you guys have any questions, click on the chat portion of the Zoom meeting and shoot a question over to me. We're going to kind of stop it in between. We're going to look at a conveyor system first, and then we'll stop after that if there's questions, and a turntable, then a lid removal device, and the tour. So if there's any questions after each one, let me know. I'll stop for a little bit, and if not, we'll just keep on rolling through. So this first system that I'm going to show is a side-by-side conveyor system that we did for a large automotive manufacturer. And the customer came to us with a opportunity here to have, basically they wanted 5 racks stacked up of fulls and 1 in the working position. And this current rack is for front ends of a vehicle or a bumper section. And the rack itself is a step-in rack, meaning that the operator is able to access or walk in to access the parts in the back end. So they needed to stack up material, and previously these would have been done on, say, a single stand, but obviously the density of the rack is not that high. So we stacked up 6 actually in working position, and then an outbound lane on the opposite side. So as the video goes, you'll see the empty rack coming through to the unload section. And again, we did all the controls and everything on the system, from the PLC to the guarding to everything. So you'll see the full come across in the front for the operator to work off of. That is being transferred on just a pop-up chain cross-transfer section that pops up between the rollers and transfers the pallet over. To give you a little better idea of what the system looked like, this is the ISO drawing of the system, where with this rack being a step-in rack, it would allow the fulls to flow down the full lane and come across, and then we have a cutout in the front here where the operator can actually get into the rack further to access the parts. So we worked with the customer on this to try to design a system that functionally would get them what they need and allow them to stack up enough part density, so that they're not having to be there every couple minutes to change a rack out. So each one of these positions would transfer automatically, so it'll accumulate station to station to station for the empties and the fulls. So from this perspective, the high-low or fork truck would load a full on one side and unload the empty on the opposite side. So this one's kind of it's a little more standard, but the difference in this one versus a standard we may have done in the past is having that kind of step-in cutout area in the front that took care of an issue that the customer was dealing with. So if there's any questions on that, let me know. Put it in the chat. If not, we'll continue on. And again, after this, if there's questions, you guys can get a hold of your representative or just call me direct and we can chat. But the next item we have on the list is it's a 50,000-pound turntable. So we at Hovair Automotive are one of the few manufacturers of air-bearing turntables in the country, and this kind of technology goes back from the Hovair start, hence the name Hovair. So the air-bearing technology, if you're not familiar with it, or actually this application right now, the customer came to us and said, "Hey, I have I have a 50,000 pound load that we need to put onto a turntable so that we can do our routine or our preventative maintenance tasks on basically a large slab of steel for a foundry. So we said, well, we can float that. We can float 50,000 pounds without issue on air bearings. So to give you an idea, this is kind of a top view of this. We had to send this table to one of our steel manufacturers to have enough weight of steel to test the table. So we put, it's a little over 51,000 pounds on this table right now. So if you guys are not aware of, we probably do 100 plus air bearing turntables a year for the automotive and different industries. But if you're not familiar with how an air bearing turntable works, it's set up with air bearings. These are 22-inch diameter air bearings that are in the base of the table. And the top portion of the table, this particular one, is about 100 inches in diameter. And the top portion will sit in the pivot, male-female, into the middle pivot of the table. And the top basically floats like an air hockey table. So it'll float on a film of air. And the way the air bearing table works is through controlled leakage. So there's 4 holes in the top of the air bearing here that allows air to blow up through the air bearing and will float the table with virtually no friction at all. So we're able to drive the 51,000 pounds with two air motor gearbox combinations on either side of the base. And this has a little 8-inch airbag that just pushes the wheel up against the bottom of the table, and its friction drives the whole tabletops, clockwise or counterclockwise. So this allows these guys to have a control post to jog the table forward and reverse while they're working off of it. One keynote with our air bearing turntables versus some of our competitors, accessibility to the air bearings. There's 2 bolts in this piece of flat stock steel here on every bearing that gets unbolted, and the bearing will slide out and allow you to replace a new bearing. Same thing with our drive packages. You'll see 2 pieces of channel here, 2 bolts, slide the drive package out and repair the drive or replace the drive, however you need it. But one of the other nice things about this is with this table working in a foundry, it's obviously a very dirty environment. And with the air bearing turntables, ours being an upblowing table, meaning the air's blowing up, it's kind of a self-contained, self-cleaning system. So in a dirty environment, these tables work great. So that's kind of a little bit on what the underside of the air bearing table looks like. But then we'll go back to, we got David at our steel manufacturer. He's actually pushing this 51,000 pounds by hand on the air bearing. So one keynote here to see is he pushed this. There's no drives driving this thing. So the momentum on this is kind of crazy. You don't have, there's no friction. So 50-some thousand pounds, imagine having, let's say, 10 vehicles lined up in your driveway and pushing them. How far or how much further do you think they're going to go? But with this, I mean, it's a single person pushing 51,000 pounds, and then it's continuing to float and go around in the circle as seen here. So the next video is going to show you basically this same table, but it'll be under the power of the air motors. So in this scenario, the same table, same setup, the operator's got a control post. They're going to hit a lever valve that's going to go clockwise or counterclockwise, and it'll turn the bearings on, and then it'll turn the friction drive on, and it'll spin the table around until they let go of the valve, and then it stops. So when these tables stop, the friction drive comes off, the bearings deflate, and the table sits resting steel on the load bars of the underside of the table. So for this particular table, it's about 21 to 23 seconds for 180-degree rotation with 51,000 plus pounds on it. So I thought this was kind of a neat thing to show you guys, that maybe you're not used to seeing. So yeah. So that's the turntable. If there's any questions on that, let me know. I think Steven's fielded them, so if not, we can move on to the lid removal device. So Okay, this is
Very good, John.
okay. Thank you. The lid. This device right here is interesting. We developed this for a customer that was having issues with. They have a large pallet, and they have, most of you may be familiar with like a 45 by 48 dunnage pack with a vacuum form or structural foam steel, or structural foam lid. And this particular one's kind of a double pallet. So it takes two people to remove the lid. So what we tried to show with our guys on the floor is they're not playing ring around the rosy. They're just picking this lid up and showing you that it takes two people to remove this lid off of this and to replace it. So the biggest question the customer came to us with is they're doing 60 jobs per hour. So every 7.5 minutes, basically, a lid had to go on and a lid had to come off. So right now, in order to get it to the production line, two people had to come, take the lid off, set it somewhere, and then the forklift driver can deliver it to the line. And then they have to come back and re-lid it. So with this scenario, the fork truck can go in, and we've got the valves mounted on the side just to show you the valve function, but the way this is going to work is with a pull cord for the forklift driver. So there's no additional person needed. The forklift driver can go in just like they just did, load this pallet in to the delidding device and pull the pull cord, and then it would pull the lid up into the queue above, and then they can come in and put another load in to remove the lid, or they can come in and request to re-lid the pallet. So again, this one's showing the lid being removed, so the fork truck's out of the way. Theoretically, right there, the forklift driver would be pulling a pull cord, and then that lid would be stored in the top. So this particular system stores 15 lids. So right now, the customer's got, the customer, before they have to repackage everything or whatever else, they've got almost, well, it's a little over an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes of lids in this system that just the fork truck driver is dealing with. So no other person's having to put lids on and off. So this video section is going to just show you them re-lidding it, which basically is all under the power of the forklift. So the forklift goes in, it centers the load, they raise their forks up, take the lid out, and then just back up and take it out. And then the next one, when they leave, if they want to re-lid, they pull the re-lid cable, and it'll come down and basically preset another lid for them to remove. So we've done a few different versions of these delidders. We've got this one, obviously, which is 100% pneumatic. There's no electrical or anything on it. And we've done a completely mechanical version for a few of the larger automotive manufacturers that hold 4 to 5 of the vacuum form or structural foam lids, and they just hold them via spring-loaded tension. So this view just kind of walks you up and down the tower. But the other ones that we do are holding the 4 or 5. They're just a spring-loaded flaps that they can lift up, and it'll clip the top lid and allow them to lower the layered dunnage so they can deliver it to the line and or bring back the empties to re-lid them. So if there's any particular questions on that, we'll give it a few seconds. And then we'll do a little walk through the shop. All right, cool. So for those of you that have not been to our facility, I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of show you what the facility looks like. So again, we got 60,000 square feet. On the left there, you'll see the offices where we've got engineering, production. There's a break room, a lobby, and then up at the top, there's more offices. Behind us here, behind that racking, is our fabrication area, and our paint booth is on the back right. This section is served as kind of a staging area for parts coming back from our powder coater. So we wet paint everything in-house, and we outsource all of our powder coating to 2 or 3 different local vendors that we have. We have a full machine shop behind that wall there through that garage door on the right, where we do a lot of our machining processes. And there's a small assembly area here in front of us is where we assemble a lot of our rotate carts on lift tables, where our guys are going through the full check sheets for everything. There's a lot of carts stacked up for one of our customers that during this quarantine, we're not able to ship. So we're kind of housing a lot of stuff right now. So it's good and bad. We've got a good view of a bunch of stuff on our floor, but obviously it's we'd rather be shipping it. So these are just flat top carts. Some of them have rotate tops. Some of them don't. And again, these are all kind of custom to the customer. So we can tweak them however we need to tweak them for your opportunities. The next section is kind of our table assembly area. So a lot of these tables are going to a large automotive manufacturer for a new program that they got going on. We test all the tables on a flat piece of steel at the back end, and we're able to test them with full weight, lowered height, raised heights, everything else. So everything gets done on check sheets to go through. And then as far as the plant process flow goes, everything is planned to be back into this section to be made ready to ship. So there's a lot of stuff that's already palletized or pallets are made for to ship out to the customer. And then we'll ship them out that side door that is there on the right or behind here. So, but gives you a general idea of what our space looks like down there in Franklin. And we love having customers come, to our place. We enjoy having them there for running off of pieces of equipment and showing them the facility, showing them the area. It's a nice centrally located spot. Again, this is just kind of a walking through back through the building towards the office area. So, but we wanted to give you a little view of what the area looked like and what we do here at Hovair. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the shop floor. And then I'm not sure if there's any other, this was kind of short and sweet for you guys, but if there's questions that you have at all on any pieces of equipment that we have, or anything else, we can hopefully get you guys that information and help you guys out with whatever it is. At the end of this, also, I wanted to say you can contact us at the 317 number, or you can call your local rep if you have questions. The sales email actually comes directly to me, and I could divvy it up to your local person in your area. And you can check us out on the web. We've also got a pretty hefty group of videos on our YouTube channel. So if there's any questions regarding that, at the end of this, we're going to randomly draw some names to send out some Hovair hats and some Hovair golf balls and whatnot. So, but yeah, we've got a few questions we want to go at. Yeah.
We do. Question from Skip. Do we have any mother-daughter cart videos?
Yes. Yeah, we've got a few of them. I need to pull some of them together, and I'll probably get them sent out to you guys that we could show, because there's probably 6 or 7 different styles of mother-daughter carts we've done in the past. Some that the wheels are coming off the ground, some that the wheels are on the ground while they're being towed. There's a whole bunch of different varieties of the mother-daughter carts. So I'll get you some information on those, and we can share that with the group. So.
Perfect. Do you program all of your PLC logic in-house, or do you have it outsourced with other partners?
So we have it outsourced right now with a couple different partners that we've used in the past. So we do a few different ways of doing this, where we will source them to do the drawings, and sometimes even come into our facility and pipe and wire the systems on our floor. Other times we will take the drawings and pipe and wire to their system drawings. So we have some system integrators that, like with the conveyor systems, for instance, the one that we saw the video of, we outsourced that. That's ran off 100% on our floor with the PLC, with the cabinet, with the controls, push buttons, everything else. We've also done systems with some of the larger OEMs where we would do the conveyor system and we would pipe and wire it to their drawings. So they would either have this system being controlled through their system PLC, or even, so we're talking with the robot controllers. If it's a turntable, sometimes we have those. But if it's, we outsource all of our controls work, but we may do some of the actual physical work in-house, but none of the drawings and the programming of the PLCs. So.
Question from Jeff here. For the auto delitter, why would you need to store so many lids? 1 hour plus, and why automate?
So right now, it mattered. I think when we were talking about going through this with the customer, it was every 7.5 minutes they were coming from the marketplace to a point of use at the line. So, and I believe, and David may be able to answer a little bit more of this too. So you may have to unmute David, but yeah, he's going to answer. If you can unmute David, since it was his project, David Benham.
Yeah, give me 1 sec. If you want to fill the space, I gotta.
You can find. So I believe they had a different. When David was working with it, they were trying to figure out the tack time for this operator or the forklift driver to get down there, to deliver the lids point of use. Are you there? Maybe.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Jeff. Yeah. It was a pretty simple reason. On this particular grill, their process system, they take those basic pallets without the lid, put it into the machine, and there are 7 in, 7 out. So those 15 pallets are in the machine. So they never touch the ground. So literally as one comes in, one goes out. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's also that the pallet does not touch the ground when it's in the facility.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep. He says he got it. I could see it in the chat.
Good. Thanks.
Any other questions from anyone? No?
Yeah, we'll give it just a few more seconds here.
Okay.
Question from Jeff.
It's real funny,
He
Jeff.
wants to know who his sales rep is. I'll get you that information, Jeff.
I'm his sales rep. Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. No, we appreciate everybody joining today. It's been listen to me ramble on a little bit, but if you guys have any questions whatsoever, feel free to contact us or your local rep, and we look forward to helping you out. So.
Thank you very much, everybody. And just as a reminder, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central, we will be having a live demo with PAR Systems and their expert operator for overhead cranes. So that's tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah,
thank
so
you very much, John.
A lot of you local, a lot of you current Hovair customers, that some of these things are pretty cool things to jump on and take a look at. The PAR systems and any of the other previous stuff that we've been doing from the Tool University virtual series. There's a YouTube link that has the demos set up for them, from anything from the wearables to the the ectoskeleton, the ergonomic wearable devices, the PAR system, the bioservo hand, a lot of the other items that Rhino Toolhouse or we as a company collectively work with and try to distribute out. They're pretty good series to go take a look at. So just FYI, if you guys need any info on where to get those, shoot me a note or I'll send them over to you. So
Thanks, John.
all right, cool.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day.
See ya.